Remember Cole's video where he went down to Arizona and spoke with some key members from Shimano about the new XTR Di2? Well, hot on the heels of that release is Shimano's XT Di2, which features a lot of similar updates and upgrades in a little bit more affordable package. So today we're going to dive into some of the features and technology in the new XT Di2. Let's go. Not too long ago, you guys might remember Cole's video where he went down to Arizona and spoke with some key members from Shimano about the new XTR Di2. Well, hot on the heels of that release is Shimano's XT Di2, which features a lot of similar updates and upgrades in a little bit more affordable package. So today we're going to dive into some of the features and technology in the new XT Di2. Let's go. So much like the XTR Di2, Shimano had a goal to offer a fast, precise, and robust drivetrain group improvement. And I should also include a brake improvement to that as well. And of course, we've got some wheels that we're going to talk about today. So as you might have guessed it, I will not be sharing a whole lot of ride impressions about this upgrade because, well, one, it just showed up, and two, I got a boo-boo on my hand, so I can't ride bikes, unfortunately, for at least another couple of weeks. But what I will be able to do is share Cole's impressions and thoughts on the XTR Di2, and a lot of those features have sort of trickled down into this. So I'm going to start off on the derailleur. Yes, there's still a derailleur, I know. Gasping, sad sounds. Until we get rid of derailleurs, we're stuck with them. But what's really cool about this new XT Di2, and in fact all of the new, well, XTR and XT Di2, is the fact that Shimano's engineers and designers have sought to reduce the forward-facing angle and surface area, which based on their studies, I guess, sales, shop mechanics feedback, indicate that's where most of the derailleurs get hit, damaged, or rendered inoperable. So before I filmed this video, actually, I pulled this derailleur off, as well as the XTR, which was on here, the cable actuated XTR, that was on here before. And I took some calipers and measured the width of that most forward, lowest kind of knuckle, we'll call it. And it was 31 millimeters on the new derailleur, the XT Di2, and it was 38 and change, 39 maybe millimeters on the XTR. So that's, you know, roughly 7 or 8 millimeters narrower in that forward-facing edge, which, you know, as Nick Murdoch talked about in the XTR Di2 video, which we will link below, is kind of where Shimano has seen most of the impacts and damage happen on derailleurs. That said, you know, while it is narrower, like I put my face kind of right next to the chainring and looked back, 8 mil, I mean, if you think about an 8 mil lower bottom bracket or 8 mil longer chainstay, like those are numbers you're gonna notice. It's pretty significant. That said, you know, I don't know what it means yet, but like this kind of area up here is a bit more bulbous, we could say. It's a little larger looking. That's a lot closer up to the axle. So I think that's kind of out of harm's way from what it sounds like for most of the impacts that Shimano engineers have seen. So nevertheless, a little bit bigger and bulkier looking in that higher element, but down low, I guess, where it's more in harm's way, it's significantly improved clearance. So all that to say, it's now wireless, has a really nice tucked in battery, and it shifts and makes a really cool sound. Speaking of shifting, it will either do that 11 or 12 times depending on which cassette you opt to run. There's an 11-speed link glide system, which we think is really cool for e-bikes. And you know, on an e-bike, you're not really doing any work anyway, so you don't need 12 gears. 11's plenty, so why not have a more durable chain and drivetrain? The 12-speed system has 2 cage lengths, a mid and a long, and 2 cassette sizes. So you've got a 945 and a 1051. I've opted to go with the 1051 with a 32 tooth chainring, which is direct mounted to these new XT cranks. These cranks do a really good job, at least I think they should do a really good job of holding pedals. I haven't put any on yet, so I can't tell you there, but if I had to guess, they'll probably hold pedals real good. Chainring, also on there pretty good. And I think it's gonna spin around and make this thing spin around really good too. So let's move away from the back end of the bike and up to this shifter here. So the XT shifter, we will link to Cole's video with Shimano where he talked to one of their engineers who came out from Japan, and he was responsible for this cam spring and multi-axis adjustability for the new Di2 controllers. Honestly, I gotta say they're really awesome. Cole has been riding them a ton and loves them. You know, I guess if you love maybe the SRAM AXS pods, it'll feel a bit different. This is kind of closer to a traditional Shimano shift location, feel, size. I personally really like it. It is a bummer to lose that kind of forward index finger shifting back. It's not something I used a lot, but when I did use it, I thought it was a pretty cool feature. But speaking of features, you've got 6 ways to shift with 2 buttons. And what I mean by that is you can either do a quick single press on the shifter, you can press and hold, which will do basically, it'll keep shifting while you're holding, or there's like a hard press, which is a double click shift, and that will shift through 2 gears at that rear derailleur. So a pretty neat feature there. There is also a programmable 3rd button just inboard here on the shifter body. Data nerds are gonna really like that. And of course, e-bikers who are also nerds, right? Or not, according to some people, I don't know. Anyways, you can toggle between different features on a Garmin, turn that on. Also, if you've got an e-bike application going on, you can turn on and switch between your free shift, auto shift, and some of those other e-bike features that the e-bike specific derailleur comes with. What's an e-bike specific derailleur, you might ask? Well, it's a derailleur that has a wire coming out of it that will plug into the battery on your e-bike, so you don't have to charge that battery, which is very neatly and securely tucked in. I have been on rides where other riders, not me, I never cased jumps. Other riders have cased jumps so hard that either their AXS dropper post battery or derailleur battery has ejected and never been found again, at least not by us. Might still be out there in the woods, or someone else might have come up on a really nice, expensive little battery in the bushes. But this battery is in there pretty securely and quite snug. Still pretty easy to get out once you kind of figure out the operation of it. So that's actually a really nice feature and something we look forward to testing once I pass this bike off to someone else who can case jumps, since I never do. I'll say it again. Clearly, I don't know how to ride a bike anyways. So moving into the brakes on the new XT group set. First up, it's gonna have a lot of the similarities to what you've seen in the XTR. It has like the new kind of closer to the bar cable routing, which, you know, I guess kind of makes it look like you've got headset cable routing, which everyone hates, but not. So maybe that's cool, I don't know. But moving away from the looks of the brakes and into the function and performance of them, which I haven't really tried out very much, there are a couple of things to talk about. So first up, we'll talk about the low viscosity mineral oil, which has been changed, and kind of in unison with that is the updated seals and piston material. Basically, you know, the old Shimano mineral oil is kind of a bright red color, and this is a little bit kind of more like a watermelon juice red. So it's a little softer red. Maybe that's why it's less viscous. I don't know. But either way, the intention was to have a brake that was more reliable, more predictable, and offered a more consistent bite point, especially along a broader range of temperatures and weather conditions. I'm going to kind of detour into our SRAM Maven review. Perhaps you folks have seen it. There are a couple hundred other comments of other people having problems with consistency and reliability on SRAM Mavens. Since that video has come out, we've spent several long calls with SRAM and FaceTime or whatever, Zoom videos, walking through this piston massage process, right? So that inconsistency is not a bleed issue. It's the piston's not, I guess, like sticking out and retracting evenly, and that's why the piston massage is so important, and I guess why a lot of people are having bad experiences with the Maven brakes, if they are having bad experiences. Some people love them. All that to say, it's really important for people to have a good experience on a brake for pistons to come out and retract evenly and reliably and predictably, right? And that, because that is what's pushing your brake pads against the rotor and pulling them off of the rotor. If, you know, one pad sticks out first and then the other one kind of hits at an angle and then the other one doesn't really move at all, you're not getting full solid pinching of that rotor, which is going to give you all the stopping power that you want, need, and deserve for the money that you're spending on these parts, right? So working with these new brakes, Shimano was really focused on getting a rubber compound that worked with this lower viscosity oil, and of course the material in the pistons that will slide, glide, and retract very reliably. Like I said, I can't test it. What I can do is pull a rotor out, pull pads out, you know, work on advancing the lever, which is advancing the pistons, and see how they move and see how they go back. It's impressive. They do that pretty evenly, pretty consistently, and I didn't have to massage them for an hour and play soft jazz music. So, okay, moving into the other elements of the brake system. One lever body, which has, like I said earlier, been redesigned. The brake lever pivot has been moved. I think it's 5 millimeters. Also, the sweep, I guess, of the lever blade has changed. And the reason why that's important, I guess, is because your finger bones, or at least most finger bones, they should be straight, pretty straight. I'm not an archaeologist, I don't know bones. Archaeologists, they look at old bones, maybe not new bones, but your fingers should go straight and not in and not out. So if a brake lever is, you know, as you squeeze it, moving on an arc, that's going to, depending on how long your fingers are and where you run your lever, is going to potentially create inefficiencies and potentially discomfort, or maybe even your finger coming off the lever entirely in a really bad case scenario. So the way that the lever has been redesigned to give you a pretty straight and natural feel is something that Cole has really praised about these new brakes. Like I said, I've ridden them, I've used one, the right side, and it feels pretty good. I haven't ridden it really on the trail, but Cole has put quite a bit of time on since February. He's had the XTR stuff, and he really is enjoying the ergonomic and feel of that. Speaking of ergonomics, there's a new lever adjust dial. Cole, I haven't actually checked with him recently. I don't think he loved it at first. I don't know if he's come around to it. I personally like it a lot. It's pretty sleek and kind of stealthy. I think it works well. It's pretty easy for me to grab. The adjustability has, like, I guess, been refined. So you now have smaller incremental adjustments. Like before, it was like kind of big jumps with each adjust of that knob. Now they're much smaller movements. So you can kind of fine tune how you want that lever to feel and get it into a happier spot a bit easier. I guess, you know, speaking of all that adjustability, and then bumping back to the adjustability of the shifter pods with that multi-axis tuning in to get those, you know, buttons and levers exactly where you want them. The I-spec compatibility to get everything buttoned up here on the cockpit. To me, it makes for a pretty nice solution that is going to, I think, allow a lot of riders to find a happy spot where things feel natural. They're not having to reach for stuff or rotate and move their arms and wrists to get the buttons pressed and levers pulled that they need to in an efficient way that they don't have to think about. So that's pretty cool. As I may have mentioned earlier, you've got 2 or 4 piston brake design, caliper design, depending on, you know, how extreme of a shredder you are, how heavy you are, or how big of a weight weenie you are. You can choose the right brake that gives you the right power for your needs. Shimano did talk to us a bit about not only the design and testing and construction of getting that caliper, you know, pistons and seals working right, but also the stiffness of the caliper itself. Nick had mentioned that they had an entire test camp just testing different stiffnesses of that caliper design, being too stiff, not stiff enough, and finding a happy spot to really give you the braking force and power you need. So that was pretty cool. That said, these are center lock rotors on the XT wheels that we are testing here. XT wheels available 29 or 27.5. They've got a 30 mil internal width, J-bend spokes, 28 hole build. There's a direct free hub engagement design that offers 3.5 degrees of engagement. Shimano has also made an effort to reduce the drag while coasting and also sought to improve some of the sealing components of the hub to keep dirt, water, and other general nastiness out of your vitals. So folks, there's a quick flyover, something that I forgot to mention earlier in the video, and it's something that we've actually seen a few comments about in our other Shimano XTR video, is that the new XT and XTR Di2 derailleurs are UDH compatible. So if you've got a bike with UDH, these will mount and bolt up to a UDH hanger. Universal derailleur hanger. So yeah, no problems there. Other than that, I welcome any comments, thoughts, questions, or things that you would like us to compare the updated drivetrain and brake system to. We will have a lot more information on the website. So if you're looking for part numbers, all the different sizes, lengths, dimensions of availability, current prices as of right now, and any other information you might be looking for. If you'd like a chance to see sneak peeks of really cool products like this before they're launched, have an opportunity to test and review and keep products that we send out, consider joining our members platform. We're having a bunch of fun over there, and we also have some really cool discount codes to a bunch of really awesome brands that are helping support our members, getting kitted out and looking good, staying safe out on the trails. Thank you guys very much. We appreciate you watching. Leave any questions again down below, and we'll see you out on the trails. Well, hopefully soon I'll be back on the trails.